What if I told you the Mona Lisa was not Leonardo da Vinci's greatest creation? What if this painting, a symbol of artistic perfection, is actually a clue to something far more valuable? His true masterpiece wasn't made of paint and canvas. It was something he built over a lifetime, something invisible, and something any of us can learn to construct for ourselves. For centuries, we have marveled at his art and his inventions, viewing him as a figure of almost supernatural genius. We see the beautiful results, but we miss the revolutionary process that created them. That process is hidden in plain sight, scattered across thousands of pages of his private notebooks. These notebooks are the source code of a master polymath. They reveal a mind that was not just gifted, but meticulously trained. It's a blueprint for learning, for seeing, and for connecting ideas in ways that change the world. Leonardo wasn't born with a secret key to knowledge. He forged that key himself through relentless curiosity and a set of powerful principles. And for those of us dedicated to lifelong learning, this is the real treasure. It's not about his talent, it's about his method. In this video, we will decode the 4 core principles Leonardo used to teach himself everything from art to human anatomy. We will uncover how he turned observation into an art and art into a science. More importantly, we'll translate his 500-year-old system into a practical framework you can use today to think like a true polymath. What if his real masterpiece was a mind we could learn to build? When we talk about a figure like Leonardo da Vinci, it's easy to get lost in the myth of genius. We place him on a pedestal, assuming his abilities were a gift from the heavens, entirely out of reach for ordinary people. But that narrative, while romantic, is ultimately disempowering. It lets us off the hook. While Leonardo's talent was undoubtedly immense, his process for learning was built on principles that are surprisingly universal. This is the crucial distinction that most people miss. They admire the destination, but they fail to study the roadmap. This video is about that roadmap. We're going to move beyond the myth and into the mechanics of his mind. Because genius isn't a trait you're born with, it's a process you can build. The core idea we'll explore is that deep learning isn't about memorizing more facts. It's about cultivating a new way of seeing the world around you and a new way of connecting the information you already have. It's an upgrade to your mental operating system. We will explore 4 of his foundational methods, giving them their original Italian names to honor their source. We'll start with Saper Vedere, the art of truly seeing. Then we will move to Connessione, the practice of connecting the unconnected. After that, we'll delve into Sfumato, the wisdom of embracing ambiguity. And finally, we will cover Dimostrazione, the discipline of testing knowledge through experience. By the end, you won't just know more about Da Vinci, you will possess a hidden code for learning taken directly from his notebooks, ready to be applied to your own life. The first principle is the foundation for all the others. It's a concept Leonardo called Saper Vedere, which translates to knowing how to see. This sounds simple, but it represents a profound shift from passive looking to active, intense observation. But how often do we truly see the world around us? We glance, we recognize, and we move on. Our brains are efficiency machines, designed to label things quickly and conserve energy. Da Vinci fought against this cognitive shortcut his entire life. He believed that knowledge began not with answers, but with a deeper, more granular perception of the question itself. For him, seeing was a dynamic activity, a form of thinking. Walter Isaacson, in his biography, highlights how Leonardo would spend hours, even days, observing a single phenomenon. He didn't just look at a bird, he studied the mechanics of its wing beats, the subtle shifts in its feathers, the way air currents held it aloft. He filled pages upon pages of his notebooks with sketches of water, obsessively documenting the patterns of eddies and whirlpools. He wasn't just drawing water, he was trying to understand its soul, its physics, its very essence. His work shows a deep belief that knowing is not enough. We must apply what we learn. His observation was a form of application. He documented the expressions of people at funerals and festivals to understand the anatomy of human emotion. He would dissect dozens of human and animal corpses, not just to see the organs, but to understand how the prime mover animated the body. This relentless, almost fanatical observation gave him a database of reality that was far richer than anyone else's. He saw details, patterns, and connections that were invisible to the casual glance. This is the difference between looking at a tree and seeing the way its branches fractalize, the texture of its bark, and the life it supports. So, how can we cultivate our own Saper Vedere? The practical exercise here is what I call the 100 descriptions. Choose a simple, everyday object, something you see all the time, like your coffee cup, a pen, or a leaf. Your challenge is to sit with that object and write down 100 distinct observations or descriptions about it. The first 10 will be easy. You will write things like, it's white, it's smooth, and it holds liquid. The next 20 will be harder. You'll have to notice the subtle curve of the handle, the way light reflects off its surface, the tiny imperfections in the glaze. By the time you get to 50, 60, and 70, you will be forced to see the object in a completely new way. You might describe its temperature, the sound it makes when tapped, its metaphorical qualities, its history, its potential uses. This exercise is brutally difficult at first, but it physically rewires your brain to move past lazy categorization and engage in deep, active observation. It forces you to see the complexity and wonder hidden in the mundane. You are training your mind to look at the world with the eyes of an artist and the curiosity of a scientist. You are learning to truly see. This is the first step to thinking like Leonardo. But this intense observation wasn't just about collecting data. It was the foundation for the next principle, which is perhaps the defining characteristic of a polymath mind. This is Connessione, the act of making connections. Leonardo's genius did not reside in any single field. It resided in the space between them. He saw art and science not as separate disciplines, but as two sides of the same coin, both quests to understand the beauty and mechanics of creation. Most people look at the world through a window, seeing one field, one specialty, one view. A polymath looks at it through a web, seeing the threads that link everything together. Da Vinci was the ultimate weaver of this web. His study of anatomy, born from his desire to understand the human form, made him a painter of unparalleled realism. He knew precisely how muscles ripple beneath the skin. His studies of geology and botany allowed him to paint landscapes that felt alive and authentic. His fascination with light and optics informed the way he used shadow and perspective in The Last Supper. The connection flowed both ways. His artistic eye helped him see patterns in scientific data. The way water flowed in a river helped him understand how blood flowed through the heart. The branches of a tree echoed the structure of bronchi in the lungs. This cross-pollination of ideas is where true innovation is born. One of the most perfect examples of Connessione is his famous drawing, The Vitruvian Man. This isn't just a beautiful sketch of a man in a circle and a square. It is a profound philosophical statement, a unification of art, architecture, human anatomy, and cosmic geometry. It represents his attempt to connect the microcosm of the human body with the macrocosm of the universe. It is a work of science born from an artist's hand and a work of art born from a scientist's mind. For us, in an age of hyper-specialization, this principle is more important than ever. We are encouraged to stay in our lanes, to become experts in one narrow domain. But breakthrough ideas rarely come from digging deeper in the same spot. They come from connecting two different spots. So, here is the practical exercise, which is called the idea bridge. Once a week, take one concept, model, or process from a field completely unrelated to your own. It could be the concept of natural selection from biology, compounding interest from finance, or narrative structure from literature. Then you must force yourself to apply it to a problem or situation in your primary field of work or study. How could the principles of a great chef's mise en place organize your software development project? How could the principles of geological deep time change your perspective on long-term business strategy? This exercise forces you to build mental bridges between seemingly distant islands of knowledge. At first, the connections will feel forced and awkward. But over time, you will train your brain to see the underlying patterns that govern reality, to think in analogies, and to find inspiration in the most unlikely of places. You begin to build your own web of understanding. If you enjoy making these kinds of connections and exploring the mental models of the world's greatest thinkers, then you are in the right place. This channel is dedicated to that exact journey of deconstructing genius and finding actionable wisdom. Subscribing is the easiest way to continue this exploration with us and ensure you don't miss the next deep dive. Join the community and let's keep learning together. Now, this is where most people stop. They observe, they connect, and they feel they have a good grasp on a subject. But Da Vinci took it one step further, into a territory that makes most of us uncomfortable. This territory is uncertainty. This leads us to the third principle, a beautiful and paradoxical concept he called sfumato. Literally, sfumato means turned to smoke or vanished. In painting, it's a technique Leonardo perfected, involving soft, hazy transitions between colors and tones, creating an atmosphere of ambiguity. You can see it in the corners of the Mona Lisa's eyes and mouth. Where does her smile begin and end? The line is not clear. It is this very ambiguity that makes her expression so captivating and timeless. It's not a happy smile or a sad smile. It is something in between, something that invites our interpretation and holds our gaze. But for Leonardo, sfumato was more than just an artistic technique. It was a profound mental model for dealing with the world. He understood that reality is not always sharp and well-defined. It is often messy, complex, and filled with paradox. While most of us crave certainty and rush to find the simplest, quickest answer, Leonardo was comfortable living inside the question.
He embraced ambiguity.
He was willing to hold opposing ideas in his mind at the same time without anxiety. He could be both an artist and a scientist, a dreamer and an engineer. He knew that the fastest way to understand something isn't to find the answer, but to sit with the question. This is a skill desperately needed in our modern world, which bombards us with simplistic narratives and black and white thinking. We are taught to solve the problem and move on. But the truly wicked problems in science, in business, in life don't have easy answers. They require us to tolerate the discomfort of not knowing, to explore nuance, and to resist premature conclusions. If you're the kind of person who isn't satisfied with simple answers, then this principle is your superpower. The practical application of Sfumato is less of an exercise and more of a mental discipline. Identify one complex question in your life or work that you have been avoiding because it feels too big or too confusing. It could be a strategic business dilemma, a philosophical question, or a personal crossroads. Instead of trying to solve it immediately, your task is to simply hold it. Write the question down and put it somewhere you can see it every day. Let your mind chew on it from different angles without the pressure of finding a solution. Collect information related to it, even contradictory information. Discuss it with people who have different perspectives. The goal is not to find the answer, but to deepen your understanding of the question itself. By embracing the smoke of uncertainty, you allow for more creative, more profound solutions to emerge over time, just as the Mona Lisa's smile emerges from the shadows. Observation, connection, and ambiguity are powerful, but without the final principle, they remain purely theoretical. Leonardo's fourth pillar of learning was Dimostrazione, which means demonstration or testing through experience. Knowledge, for him, was not a passive possession. It had to be earned and validated in the real world. He was famously critical of the armchair theorists of his day, the scholars who relied solely on ancient texts and abstract reasoning without ever getting their hands dirty. He had a motto, Saper Vedere, knowing how to see was not enough. You had to prove what you saw. He famously warned that practice without knowledge is like a sailor setting sail without a rudder or compass, forever uncertain of their destination. True learning is a feedback loop between theory and practice. You observe the world, form a theory, and then you must test that theory with an experiment. The result of that experiment, whether it succeeds or fails, becomes a new observation that refines your theory. He turned observation into an art, and art into a science of empirical testing. His notebooks are filled with this process. They aren't just collections of beautiful drawings, they are lab journals. He designed and built elaborate sets for plays, testing his ideas about mechanics and perspective. He engineered new types of canals and locks, putting his understanding of hydrodynamics to the test. And most famously, he spent decades trying to build a flying machine. He built multiple prototypes based on his deep studies of bird flight. They all failed, but each failure was a dimostrazione. Each crash provided new data, revealing a flaw in his understanding of aerodynamics or materials. He was learning through doing, through failure, through experience. This principle directly connects to what modern thinkers call the Feynman technique. You don't truly understand something until you can explain it simply, or in Leonardo's case, until you can build it or apply it. So the practical exercise is straightforward. Find one small way to apply a piece of theoretical knowledge you've gained recently. If you read a book about negotiation, don't just highlight a passage, try one of the techniques in a low-stakes conversation. If you're learning a new programming language, don't just watch tutorials, build a tiny, simple application. If you've learned about Saper Vedere, don't just nod along, go out and do the 100 descriptions exercise. This isn't about massive, life-changing projects. It's about creating a constant habit of bridging the gap between what you know and what you do. It's about moving from being a consumer of information to a practitioner of knowledge. That is the path of demonstration. Okay, enough theory. We've journeyed through the mind of Leonardo and decoded 4 powerful principles from his notebooks. But how do we tie all of this together into a system we can actually use? How do we prevent this from being just another interesting video and turn it into a real change in our lives? This is where we synthesize it all into what I call the Da Vinci workout. It is a simple 4-step routine you can integrate into your week to start building the mental muscles of a polymath. Think of it as your training regimen for genius. Step 1 is observe. This is your Saper Vedere practice. For just 15 minutes, 3 times a week, pick one object or activity and observe it with total, undivided attention. Don't multitask. Don't just glance. See it. Describe it in a notebook. Sketch it, even if you can't draw. The goal is to fight your brain's urge for efficiency and rediscover the richness of the world. Step 2 is connect. This is your connection practice. At the end of each day, write down the 2 most interesting but completely unrelated ideas you encountered. It could be something from a podcast and a conversation with a friend. Then force a connection between them. Ask yourself the question, how is X like Y? Write down the analogy, no matter how strange it seems. You are building the pathways for creative insight. Step 3 is embrace. This is your Sfumato practice. Once a week, identify one question you're avoiding because it is too complex or lacks a clear answer. Write that question on a sticky note and put it on your monitor or mirror. Your job is not to answer it. Your job is to live with it, to look at it, and to let your subconscious mind work on it in the background. You are building your tolerance for ambiguity. And finally, step 4 is test. Dimostrazione. Every day, find one tiny microscopic way to apply something you've learned. It could be a new word, a social dynamic you observed, or a mental model. The action can take less than 5 minutes. The key is to close the loop between theory and practice, to make learning an active verb, not a passive noun. Observe, connect, embrace, test. This isn't a magic formula. It is a discipline. This is the workout that over time transforms your mind from a simple library of facts into a dynamic engine of insight. It's the process he used. Now it's yours. So let's return to our original question. What was Leonardo da Vinci's greatest creation? The Mona Lisa is a masterpiece of art. The Last Supper is a masterpiece of drama. His flying machines were masterpieces of imagination. But looking at the system we've just uncovered, the answer becomes clear. The Mona Lisa wasn't his masterpiece. His true masterpiece was his mind. And like any masterpiece, it was built piece by piece with intention. It was constructed through the daily practice of Saper Vedere, finding the infinite in the infinitesimal. It was woven together with Connessione, seeing the universe in a single thread. It was given depth and soul by Sfumato, embracing the beauty of what is not yet known. And it was made real and strong through Dimostrazione, grounding every idea in the bedrock of experience. These four principles are not just historical curiosities. They are a timeless guide for anyone who believes that learning is the highest human adventure. They show us that the structure of genius is not a mystery, but a mindset of relentless curiosity, fierce independence of thought, and a deep-seated love for the world in all its complexity. This kind of deep thinking isn't easy. It takes discipline, but the rewards are immeasurable. You begin to see the world not as a collection of separate objects, but as a living, breathing system of interconnected wonders. Da Vinci's greatest masterpiece wasn't a painting, it was the mind that created it. Now it's your turn to be the artist of your own. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this deep dive. I hope you feel as inspired by these ideas as I do. These principles of learning are universal. If this journey of deconstructing genius and finding actionable wisdom resonates with you, subscribe and join our community of lifelong learners. Until next time, stay curious.